Live from the mist-enshrouded mountaintop fortress that is X and Y Communications headquarters, you're listening to the world-famous Mountaintop Podcast. And now, here's your host, Scott McKay.
Hey guys, welcome again to yet another episode of the world-famous Mountaintop Podcast. My name is Scott McKay. At Scott McKay on both Twitter and Clubhouse, Real Scott McKay on Instagram. You can find all of our videos on YouTube by searching my name, SCOTMCKAY. The URL, as always, is mountaintoppodcast.com, and I invite you to join us in our Facebook group for like-minded men. That's the Mountaintop Summit. With me today is a returning guest. You guys loved him the first time he was on talking about how to become a legend. And his name is Tommy Breedlove from Atlanta, Georgia. Today we have a completely different, yet, I don't know, a little bit related topic. It's going to be a lot of fun. It is living life to the fullest a scam? Man, we got to hit the ground running on that one. My guest is indeed Tommy Breedlove. Tommy, how you doing, man?
Scott, what an honor to be back with you, my brother. If it's anything like our pre-discussion, this is going to kick ass, man. So I'm thankful to be here, brother.
We're already cracking up. Yeah. The honor is all mine, sir. Your book is wildly popular. Guys love it. Guys bought up a lot of copies of it the last time you were on. So it was an absolute no-brainer to have you on again. One of the things you talk about is leaving a legacy. Another thing you talk about is living your best life. And I couldn't help but think when we were coming up with a topic, how many different ideas potentially someone could come up with when they simply ponder the thought of living one's best life. I mean, it can mean so many things to so many different people, but I'll tell you what came to mind that prompted the rather controversial wording of this particular topic was, I think a lot of times guys really think this is a tall ask, living one's own life. I mean, I got to start doing really incredibly dangerous adrenaline rush adventures. Maybe I have to kind of yell YOLO at the top of my lungs like a bunch of girls on spring break and make really bad decisions and just make sure that I don't experience FOMO. You know, there's YOLO and FOMO, right? The FOMO of not YOLOing, you know, I think comes to mind for a lot of guys when they're thinking about living their life to the fullest. Yet, you know, as someone famously said a long time ago, Tommy, you can't kiss all the girls. Okay?
Damn it.
I know, right? There's billions of them. It would be great. But I think it was actually one of my mentors, Harvey McKay, who said that, which I thought was hilarious. Maybe he borrowed it from someone else. He talks about other people all the time, so that's very possible. But talk to me, man, about this idea of living one's life to the fullest. After all, it is my life I'm living to the fullest, right? What say you about the balance maybe, or what it should mean to guys?
Yeah, man. So I don't know if you've got to go out and jump, climb Mount Everest or jump out of 16 airplanes or scream, YOLO at the top of your lungs. I'm not going to do any of that shit. But I also believe that balance is quite difficult because we're always prioritizing and reprioritizing depending on what we're trying to achieve in our life. And let's just be clear that men crave respect, status. We fear the shit out of embarrassment. But what does living a best life actually mean? To me, it'd be one where we're in charge of our time, doing things we want to do as best we can, and being around people who lift us up, make us better, and make us happy. That's what I would think it would be, brother.
You know, there's one of those famous lines that's been attributed to a whole bunch of different people, including Charles Bukowski and Kinky Friedman from here in Texas in this case. And that's the following: find what you love and let it kill you.
I love that.
Do you? I mean, does living life to the fullest have to be deadly? That's another good question. I mean, I guess I have this danger zone mentality when it comes to this idea of living life to the fullest, don't I? What's up with that?
Well, I don't know what's up with it because I think we promote the hell out of it. We've got the Colin O'Brady's of the world and the guy who climbed Mount El Capitan out there with no ropes and people running 100-something miles to see if they can do it. I mean, David Goggins out there literally killing himself, but dying internally. It's because we promote the hell out of it. And I think we've misinterpreted that as maybe being the good life or what manhood actually is. So we're just being inundated with it, is what I think.
I mean, so there's a good topic of discussion right there. I mean, we're just lining them all up. We're putting all our ducks in a row here. This is going to be a very healthy discussion. I can already figure out. Indeed, Jocko Willink's company, Origin in Maine, sponsors this show and has for over a year now.
Loved Extreme Ownership, by the way. That's a great book.
Fantastic. I mean, victimhood sucks. And
and especially it really sucks now because the press wants us to believe we're either a victim or a bigot, and that's just flat bullshit.
Or a victimized bigot.
Yeah, true. Good point.
Little both. Yeah, you're either the one victimizing other people or you're the one being the victim. There's no just going out and living your best life now, is there? But I agree with you about the media. And indeed, we had a show not too long ago around here where we talked about how all of this is what's collectively known as family pressure. It's isolating us so that we can be told what to think rather than talking to a bunch of our peers or people we respect and forming an opinion based on a real world perception rather than a media driven perception. And that, of course, goes for your worldview, your politics, your religion nowadays, what kind of beer you drink, what kind of car you drive, what kind of woman you date, indeed, what kind of cosmetics you use to make yourself look better and what you should even look like. And it seems like someone else is always trying to tell us how to live our best life. And in Jocko's case, you also mentioned David Goggins. A lot of guys, I think, start thinking to themselves, not only do I have to be dangerous, but I have to be hyper-macho. Or, I'm some kind of pusswad. And obviously that's not living my best wife. And obviously that's not living my best life. So, there are all these different silos of opinion out there that are influencing us and causing us to think things when really whatever happened to thinking for ourselves and perhaps, yes, being influenced by others we respect or by lifestyles we want to emulate? Is it that we're just not getting off a top dead center, Tommy, and finding our own way out there and we're just influenced by people who maybe don't have our best interests at heart, or what is it?
I think all of us, we crave connection, whether we say we do or not, and we want to fit into a tribe. And men throughout history, the reason we crave power, status, prestige, respect, the truth is, yeah, it's fun doing all those fun things and driving all those nice cars. But the truth is we did it because we want to get laid. That's the truth. And so that goes back hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. And so what I would say to the part, whether you want to be super macho or super dangerous, or you just want to do you, we've got to start thinking for ourselves. And I think you're spot on that. So what does that actually mean? That means, deep down in you, your gut, your core, you're growing, whether or not you are happy by making this decision, wearing this clothes, in this job, dating this girl, or married to this girl, or are you not? And if you're not happy, you're probably not doing the right things and being around the people, and you're probably not thinking for yourself. Someone else or something else is thinking for you. That's what I would say to that.
Now, see, there's another author out there or three who are saying being happy is overrated. You should be fulfilled. That's lacking discipline, or that's really being too selfish to worry about our own happiness. So what I'm going to do is not hang you out to dry there. I'm going to ask you what your opinion of happiness is and what exactly you mean by happiness and what's represented by it.
Well, I think it's impossible to be completely fulfilled without having some happiness and joy in your life. And life is so damn difficult as it is. We're all going to get sick. Every single person listening to this, including the two talking on it, are going to die. We're going to have illness. We're going to have economic issues. We've got political and social issues. Life's a bitch, man. And so fulfillment comes from serving yourself and serving others. If you're not having happiness and joy on the day, that's a martyr. Then go find you the closest Buddhist monastery and go sit there and chant for 100 hours a day, and maybe you'll be fulfilled. To be fulfilled, you have to serve yourself and someone else using your God-given talents. But why do that in lack of happiness and joy? And both of those are fleeting and they're destinations. And as part of the journey, they're not always here. We're not always going to be happy. But for me, are you happy when you have sex? I hope so. Are you happy when you eat something great? I hope so. Are you happy when you do something fun? I hope so. And if you're lacking that, what's the point of being fulfilled if you're miserable? They call those martyrs back in the day. That's my opinion. But again, that's an opinion, maybe not wisdom, but it's my opinion.
Well, they call that borderline personality disorder nowadays. You just want to create drama. You don't want to be happy. Everything's got to suck. There are people out there who are like that. I mean, good grief, dude. Just get on political Twitter. It's a sewer.
Ugh.
I mean, you can smell it over the internet. It's so stinky.
I completely agree. And did you read this, or maybe you've heard this too, that if you spend more than 3 minutes a day or 4 minutes a day on Twitter, you're 65% more likely to say you've had a bad day? How crazy is that?
Only 65?
Maybe 165.
I'd slap a lifetime guarantee on that bad boy. Man, 3 minutes a day on Twitter will, they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. An hour a day will make you have to go to the doctor. Probably a shrink if you spend it on Twitter. Oh, yeah. I mean, who are all these people, Tommy? I mean, they're miserable. All they want to do is hate each other. And we talked about this on this show, too, that haters are just going to hate. They're people who like hating, and they're going to take the path of least resistance and find what they don't like and dwell on it. And I can't think of a worse way to attempt to live, quote unquote, one's best life than to go around hating. I mean, you got to get rid of the bitterness. You got to get rid of the fear in order to be happy and start, filling your life with something, hence the word fulfillment, right?
I couldn't agree more, man. And here's the challenge with that for all of us is if we're constantly feeding poison into our eyes, our ears via social media, Twitter, 24-hour news networks, reality TV, most of the stuff that's on Netflix or Amazon, it's meant to scare you. It's meant to divide you. It's make you to feel worry. They literally want to be an us versus them, because ultimately we're the puppets and they're the puppeteers, and they are getting all the money from our clicks, from the advertising, for us being divided, scared, and angry. And we've got to turn that. It's up to us to stop it. It's up to us. Now, people who just want to war and fight and hate, let them war, fight, and hate. Hell, maybe they'll find each other and they'll wipe each other out. But the rest of us, 98% people who want to make a difference, who want to make impact, who want to be good people, whatever that means to us, is we've got to cut all that stuff off. And we've got to start putting nutrition in our eyes and ears. Great books, great podcasts, conversation with people that lift you up and make you better. Anything but all of those things. The unfortunate thing is all of those things are extremely addictive. They're convenient. They're easy. They're one phone away or one click away. And so it makes it very hard. It makes it hard for all of us, especially us, what I would call, quote, normal people, whatever that means, to not turn it off because it's just always around us and convenient. But it's up to us to choose to put something into our hearts, minds, souls, podcasts, books, great conversations, whatever it might be, learnings, in order for us to literally reconquer our thinking, our heart, our soul, and our time. That's what I think.
You talk about this often, don't you?
I do. I'm very passionate about it.
It just rolls off your tongue. You mentioned the word nutrition. And given all the unfortunate circumstances that we've rattled off over the last 5 minutes associated with media and mind control and wherever in the world we're going here as a country and as a society, that's all a lot of junk food. It has no real substance. It's not teaching you anything. It's not really helping anybody except the people who are going to make money off you or get more power from you. In the moment, eating junk food feels so great, but then in the end, you're not very healthy and you get sick. And that's the opposite of living one's life to the fullest. But a question that came to mind for you, Tommy, while you were talking, revolves around the concept of freedom. How important is freedom to living one's life to the fullest? I mean, it sounds like a rhetorical question, doesn't it? But I'm going to let you riff on it because it's such a beautiful, beautiful idea.
You're hitting all my buzzwords. And freedom is probably one of the very few things that I would actually kill for. And freedom of thought, freedom of choice, freedom of speech. And, you know, for a country that was founded on really, really, really rock solid principles, and the Constitution is really rock solid for the most part, we really, as a country, believe in freedom of speech until somebody says something that pisses us off, and then we're like, want to monitor that. And so
that's the new normal.
Yeah, which is just ridiculous. It lacks common sense, and it's a slippery slope into an Orwellian 1984 world. So we got to watch that. But freedom is everything. Freedom of choice. And, I'm a firm believer we're born with the gift of life, the gift of choice, and the gift of death. And the gift of death meaning that we're not going to be here very long. Let's use our time wisely. But the gift of choice is all about freedoms. And you've probably read this, Scott. Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl.
Viktor Frankl comes up a lot on this show.
Unbelievable, man. And the whole point of that is even in the worst dire circumstances, you always have the freedom of choice. And so freedom to live your life, freedom to think the way you want to think, as long as you're not out there torturing or hurting yourself or others. And, in my view, if you want to go hurt yourself, go do it, man. Just as long as you don't take anybody. Don't be a coward. Take other people with you. However, the freedom to think your thoughts, the freedom to live your life with safety, with love, with God-willing happiness, with fulfillment. Again, fulfillment comes from service. So if you're a net giver, you're going to be fulfilled in life. If you're a net taker, good luck. You're not going to be fulfilled. So for freedom, however, it's a really, really, really interesting word these days because true freedom comes with true thought, true thinking. And so I'll cut it there because that's a topic that I could riff on for about 9 days.
Now, when you mentioned Viktor Frankl, of course, he was a concentration camp survivor during the Holocaust. But the raw power of that book lies in the poignant and breathtaking, frankly, way in which Viktor Frankl says these Nazis couldn't take away what was going on in my spirit and inside my head. They couldn't own that.
Couldn't take it.
Couldn't take it.
Yep. They couldn't take its dignity. They couldn't take his integrity, even if it would have cost him and so many others their lives, which he saw. It was always a choice. They couldn't take away his dignity. They couldn't take away his integrity, and they could never take away his soul and energy. And what a gift that he survived that and put that piece of work out into the world for us all to give us hope and for also us to reflect on how bad it can be if you go too extreme one way or the other.
I'll tell you, it should be required reading. I mean, it was when I was in school, but I bet it's not anymore. Something tells me it's probably not. I talk about what I've coined as the suburban sleepwalk, Tommy. We all live in this nice, safe place. And, for sure, our parents and our parents' parents wanted us to have a better life than they had. I mean, somewhere Viktor Frankl's descendants are living in suburbia. I would almost bet on it, But, I mean, is this living our life to the fullest? You know what I mean? And, songs have been written about this, angry rock anthems about how awful suburbia is, Tom Hanks movie, The Burbs, right? I mean, this is boring. It's too safe. It's sanitized. Meanwhile, you go to places that we would call third world countries. And I mentioned this on the show when it needs mentioning. And it seems like those people are laughing more. They have more friends. They're socializing more. They feel more alive. And every once in a while, you'll go out and have an experience and you'll leave that experience going, man, I just felt alive. And if you say that to someone who's never really spent much time in suburbia or, has been kind of fighting their way through Maslow's hierarchy their whole life, they're going to be like, what do you even mean by that? I mean, is that even a thing? And yet what we've done is we've lulled ourselves to sleep with safety. And I guess that harks back to what we kicked off this whole conversation with. I mean, okay, I don't need to base jump and fly around with a Batman suit on like Jeff Shapiro, although Jeff Shapiro is very cool. But I had to do something. I had to do something that's meaningful to me, a la Viktor Frankl, right? And if I'm just sitting around watching someone else live their life on my big screen TV, I mean, we got better TVs to do that on than ever before, and they're cheaper. And yet, everybody's like, yeah, I don't know what I'd like to do. I don't really feel the need to do anything. I'll get guys who sign up for my coaching, Tommy, and the first item on the questionnaire that the guys fill out when they do coaching with me is name 25 things that you would like to do, like to acquire, or experiences you'd like to have, et cetera, before you die, a bucket list. And I got guys, Tommy, who got nothing. I don't know, be happy, be healthy. I'm like, you want to go see the Great Wall of China? I mean, you want to have sex with two women at the same time? You want to, drive a Lamborghini? And they'll go like, oh, those all would be nice. Sure. Add those to the list. Guys don't even think about this. So I guess the question here is, okay, freedom. Freedom means I get to do what I want. My wife and I have crafted a lifestyle where we work from anywhere in the world. We world school our children. Hey, we can get up and we leave. And yet sometimes we still don't. I mean, COVID put the brakes on just about everything and everybody there for a year. And, habits were formed. And they're not good habits if one wants to live one's best life. I mean, hell, people aren't even going back to work because they're getting paid more to stay home, Tommy. That is the opposite of living one's best life. So I guess the question again is, I don't know, it kind of comes back to balance. We're going to hit it from a different angle here, but nonetheless, can I live my best life if all I really want to do is code software or clean houses or run a power washing company or just do something where, I'm not famous and I'm not adventurous and I'm not saving the world. I'm just doing my part. I'm making 1/7.5 billionth of a contribution, and I'm good with that. I mean, is there a place for that? Or do we always have to reach higher? I mean, if we're stagnating, we're not growing, and if we're not growing, we're dying, and all these different catchphrases people love to FOMO us with. I mean, land the plane here, Tommy. What's the deal?
I think it depends. One thing we've done, and you alluded to it, is we've made things extremely safe and extremely easy. And this world, even the planet, even the third world countries you mentioned, are the safest, most free, and most wealthy they've ever been, with the exception of just a very small handful. We've got less war than we've ever had before. And so in this country, I think what has happened is there's way too many options and way too many shiny objects. It's like living in a damn casino 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's just one distraction after the other. And we have it real easy. Hell, we don't even have to, we can pick up an app to get laid, by just swiping right or left. I mean, that just creates laziness. And so if you want to own a power wash company or you want to just code software, it goes back to this. Do you have down in your gut and in your day-to-day life, do you feel lazy, judgmental, angry, scared, worried? And if the answer is yes to that, are you judging people? Are you a cynic? Are you constantly blaming someone else? Are you a victim? Are you a martyr? If the answer is yes to those questions, I would say you're not living your best life. However, if you're coding software all day and that just lights you up and you believe that's why you're here is to code software, and you have that fleeting happiness and joy, then I would say you are living the good life. But if you find yourself looking at the sky and asking, why the hell am I here? Or what I call God's TV, sitting around a fire and looking at the fire and like, is there more to this? Am I lacking something? Why am I unhappy? Why am I unfulfilled? Then no, you're not living your best life. And going back to the suburbia sleepwalk, if you're just wearing what everybody else is wearing and driving whatever just to fit in so that people will like you, you're not living your best life because you've got to like you. You've got to love you. You've got to learn to sit in a room with yourself. You've got to learn to be your own best friend. You've got to learn to self-respect and get self-confidence and gain a little bit of courage to go live the life that you were meant to be. I love your freedom and how you have chosen. Like it goes back to that word. The only power we have is choice. It's literally the only power we have. That you have chosen to live the life that you want to live. Does that mean you're always happy, Scott? No. Does that mean you don't get pissed off? No. I mean, we're human. We live a human experience. But the key is, are you doing what you want to do, where you want to do it, how you want to do it? And, there's making too much money has diminishing returns because you're going to be so out of balance, so out of priorities, and it's going to be about next and more never happen. And so it really depends. There's no right or wrong answer. It goes back to you. Are you thinking for yourself? Do you live with self-respect? Do you live with courage? Do you live with confidence? More often than not, do you give more than you receive? And that, to me, is how you become happy, fulfilled, and, quote, live your best life. And are you experiencing this life, this very, very, very short life, to its fullest? Yes or no? I mean, it's really up to each individual to answer that.
Man, so well spoken. And I'll tell you what, you talk about the freedom that Emily and I have crafted in our life. And, for better or worse, I'm just going to throw it on the table. We've done a better job at that than most people I know. I mean, most everybody I know socially still is tethered to something, right? You talk about the American dream. The American dream is to get a great job for a good company, a house in suburbia with 2 cars in the garage and 2.5 children, and you're tethered to everything. You're in debt, and, the school system owns you 9 months a year. Your kids have to go, and that's what we were told to dream, not necessarily what we wanted or what we really dreamt of. And you talk about the shiny objects. Nowadays, we can be jealous of literally hundreds of thousands of people because we see them just slathered all over the media doing cool things that we don't think we'll ever have a chance to do. The highlight reel, right? Everybody on Facebook is showing us all the good things or either the really bad things sometimes, if there's something tragic. But there's no celebration of the mundane. It's all FOMO. It's all, man, if there's an ounce of boredom in your life, you got to crush it underfoot and go do something exciting. And listen, let's just quash that whole theory right now. Emily and I have been a whole lot of places. We do a whole lot of cool stuff. Our kids are involved in sports and we cook great food and we drink the good beer and we adore each other. But let me tell you something. We do a lot of boring stuff. Just a couple episodes ago, we were talking about, John Catherman and I, how, all these men think we have to, drive a 4x4 pickup truck out into the wilderness and kill bears with our bare hand. And here both of us are talking about that. And we both, live in suburbia. You know what I mean? I do. My guest did. Catherman lives in, suburban Charlotte, North Carolina. I live in San Antonio city limits. But if you know anything about this city, the city becomes very bucolic before it's not San Antonio anymore. I mean, I got deer wandering around in my front yard, But listen, the bottom line is there's no way you're going to fill every minute of every day with pure adrenaline. And this goes back to something that was taught during the pickup artist era. Women who are 10s are reserved for rock stars. She doesn't want to go out to the movies with you this weekend, dude, because she's getting on a Gulfstream 5 and flying to the Maldives with, a famous guy. Who the hell she is? She's going to sit home and watch Friends reruns, crying over her Ben & Jerry's, because her heart got broken again 2 weeks ago. And listen, I can prove this. I went out with so many pretty women, sweethearts, who were dateless because they didn't know how to be social, or they were kindergarten teachers and went and stood around a bunch of other women and 5-year-olds all day, went home and were tired. That's real life. That's reality. What you see on the highlight reel isn't. What you see on a TV quote unquote reality show is anti-reality. The truth of the matter is, even if you are living your best life, you still got to run the errands. You still got to do the housework. You still have to make up for natural entropy by cleaning things up and fixing stuff that breaks. It isn't going to be 100% nonstop adrenaline, even if you have, wait for it, formed an identity, and out of that comes purpose. And you know what you want to do, and it's very impressive to women and all that. I mean, even here at X and Y Communications, hey, Tommy, I feel like I've been retired for 15 years because I wake up every morning doing what I love. But there are still things I don't like doing that have to get done or the business doesn't work. Well, McKay, why don't you outsource it? Yeah, nice try. If I could only outsource to someone else and pay them pennies on the dollar for everything I don't want to do in life. Yeah. Tell that to my dog who's 16 years old and pees on the carpet. I can't just call someone and have them clean it up right now. Come on over. It's got to get done now. So, I mean, yes, you can dream big. You can go for freedom like it's a freaking golden ring. And I hope everybody listening will do that. I hope you're doing what you want to do because it's who the hell you are, because it's in line with your character. But yeah, you know what? That's different than pressuring yourself into oblivion, right?
Super hard though, isn't it? It's super hard. What you're talking about, the daily grind, the daily work, it's the reps, to use that metaphor, right?
Yeah.
You can't get physically fit if you don't do the reps or do the cardio. Same thing goes with your heart and mind muscles. And life is meant to be lived, and the mundane, the journey, the process. If you can figure out how to look around and enjoy that and be appreciative of it and grateful for it, I mean, your life will be a whole lot better. But no, you're not going to escape life or the mundaneness or the boredom or other things. And I loved your digression there about women, because women, for the most part, they crave love. That's what statistics say. They crave love. And by the way, guess what they're attracted to? Confidence. Confidence, confidence, confidence. It has to do with the G5 that you fly, or, the wheelbarrow that you roll around in. It's about being confident in who you are, and that comes with respect. And by the way, confidence is about doing the reps. And so if you want to be confident in your heart space, in your job, in anything, you've got to do the reps. And so the reps, the process, the mundane, that's the important stuff. I hate flossing my teeth. I know that's TMI, but guess what I do? I floss my damn teeth because I know it's what's best for me. And so I believe if we're tilted, if it's 60-40 or 70-30, I think if you're 70-30, you're living a world-class life. 60-40, a great life. 50-50, a very good life. That where you're enjoying it and experiencing it and doing the things that you want to do. I think 50-50 is good. You're going to do 50% doing stuff you don't want to do, and 50, that's still a good life. 51-49, even better. 70-30, that's a great life. And then a world-class life, if you could get it to 80-20, that's world-class. And that doesn't necessarily mean money and things. You and I both know money is important to truly experience life. But time is more valuable by far than money. And if you can somehow have more time, even with a little less money, you'll be probably a lot more happy and fulfilled as well in that stuff. Because it's shiny shit. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's good to have, but it will not light you up. It will not fill that hole. And so I'll leave it at that. But man, you got to do you. But in order to be confident, self-respect, courage, if you can't answer that question Scott just threw out there, like 25 things that you desire or want, man, that makes me really damn sad for you. Start doing some work, work with Scott, find somebody to help you with it. But man, that is super sad, because let me tell you what is going to happen is you're going to be lying on your deathbed, regretful as hell. And who wants that?
Well, I'll tell you, around here, this has all been built around experiences, not around collecting stuff. All the cool stuff we have around here feeds the experiences. It's all gear. You know what I mean? For the most part. And I'll tell you what. A lot of guys are thinking, man, 51, 49, 80, 20, I don't even know how to count it. It all seems to blend together. I mean, admittedly, I'm one of those guys. But, something that perhaps has been unsaid until now, which deserves to be addressed, is all of our best laid plans on how to live life to the fullest are sometimes dashed by an emergency, or by the theater of the unexpected, or by what I call collectively God's dirty little tricks. And sometimes that's where you find the fulfillment. Sometimes that's where you find the unexpected blessing in what you perceived up front to be crisis. Like Viktor Frankl, great example. I mean, I don't think he'd like to go back and relive being in a concentration camp, but look at the gift to the world that came from that. In my own life, my first marriage was a disaster, but if I didn't have that first disastrous marriage, I wouldn't be as well equipped to serve the guys I serve today who are suffering through some of the same things. And I certainly wouldn't have been able to appreciate, perhaps, maybe not certainly, but perhaps I wouldn't have appreciated the fullness of the relationship I'm in now with Emily. And I think that deserved to be said. Now listen, Tommy Breedlove, gentlemen, is the only guy I know of who can talk about dental floss and make it interesting. I just did that for you and a whole lot more. So what you need to do, obviously, is go over to mountaintoppodcast.com/Breedlove and get a spanking new copy of Legendary, a simple playbook for building and living a legendary life and being remembered as a legend. Hey, maybe you might just get a spanking, but it'll be good for you. So you get that spanking new copy and perhaps more. And Tommy, this has been an excellent conversation. I knew this would be a lot of fun, and it's been kind of garrulous, but we need a show like that every once in a while. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you back, brother. And I think you said something really powerful there. A couple of things, and I'll leave it with this, is if we were immortal or perfect, or this life was perfect, it'd be really, really boring. I know it sounds cliche, but I was a Michelangelo of absolute messing up and failure for the first 37 years of my life. Spent the last 10 turning it around, brother, and I've never been better and happier. And so I'll leave it at that. I love everything that you said. I love who you are, man. And here to all you men out there listening to this, please participate in your own rescue. Look in the mirror. It's the problem and the solution. And love to you all.
Yeah, there's empowerment, and then there's trying to be your own God. And I'll tell you what, I don't need that pressure. A lot of people are trying that, man. Can you imagine how boring it would be to be your own guide? You'd have everything figured out. What fun is that?
That would
Anyway,
be seriously boring.
Tommy, thanks again. And guys, if you haven't been to mountaintoppodcast.com in a while, check out our sponsors, Origin in Maine and Hero Soap. Hero Soap, man, if you haven't gotten yourself a couple bars of Hero Soap, it is long past due for you to do that. Probably because you're stinky and you need a shower. But it's also because there are no phthalates, no parabens in that soap. It's going to make you feel good and smell good for the ladies, and for anything else you might be doing. Hey, you might want to just smell good going surfing or hunting. I don't know. And if you haven't yet checked out Origin in Maine, you're going to be amazed by all the cool, manly stuff they do over there. Just do yourself a favor and go check out Origin Maine from the link on the website. And guys, yes, you can still talk to me free for 25 minutes by clicking the red button in the upper right-hand corner at mountaintoppodcast.com. We can talk about where you are right now, where you want to be, put a plan of action in place so that you can, yes, live your best life. You can sign up for free, and the scheduling's immediate thanks to Calendly.com. And all that and more is there for you at mountaintoppodcast.com. And until I talk to you again real soon, this is Scott McKay from X&Y Communications in San Antonio, Texas. Be good out there.
The Mountaintop Podcast is produced by X&Y Communications. All rights reserved worldwide. Be sure to visit www.mountaintoppodcast.com for show notes. And while you're there, sign up for the free X&Y Communications newsletter for men. This is Ed Roy Odom speaking for the Mountaintop Podcast.